Right now that we are live on YouTube, this live stream is for education information purposes only and does not constitute a financial, investment, legal, or tax advice, and I do not need your opinion on my trading. Just a reminder for YouTube. Like I said, this stream is for educational purposes only. Do not send messages about anything else that it has not to do with trading. You will get banned faster than you can count to 5. I'm actually very chill today. All right. Let me put this right here because I'm looking at these charts right now. I don't like how YM is accumulating. We did take buy side liquidity. I'm debating if I want to trade YM. NQ does looks very bullish. I don't know what I want to trade today. And especially after yesterday's price action, everything, like the charts look like fucking shit, to be quite honest. So we shall see what 9:30 brings to the table right now. I think that's how I'm going to play by ear. Because would I like to see YM sell? And we are in what I think we could sell from. Do I want to give it a shot? Yeah, I'll give it a shot. I'm going to put it right here. Damn, that's messy. Of course. One more time. I have to put my stop right there. I don't like how it's doing that. Do I want to leave it? It's about to take me out. I feel like I don't like how it did that. That was such a shitty fucking entry. I should not have touched that. Fucking knew it. Yep. NQ. It is. Fuck YM. Let's see. I should have gone with one contract. This looks like shit. I want to see buys on NQ. But I don't know. Do you want to see buys from right there? Yeah, I'll give it a shot. I actually prefer NQ today than YM. YM is doing some fuck shit. Let me focus on this one. Why does this look kind of squished? I'm gonna move this. I'm gonna like open this up. I want my first target to be right here. Then the second one, I'm gonna be all the way up top. Should have gone with my gut. I don't know why the fuck I got an OIM. Bro, why am I not on the 30 seconds? All right. All right, cool. All right. I'm just aggressively trading now because, well, because we're up. Fuck it. Yep, that's it. I'm out. I'm done. We lit. Right now I'm on the 30 seconds, but I think I was looking at the 1 minute first. I did want this as the target, but I have a feel, I don't know. It's like once we broke previous day high, I'm kind of like, yeah, we could retrace to this fair value gap. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not opposed to having a retracement and then continuing back up. Damn, I cannot even LARP on Instagram today. I didn't record this. That is the biggest problem that I have when I'm on YouTube. It's really hard to manage all my screens. It was the 30 seconds or the 1 minute. I flipped through my time frames very fast. Like, can you guys see? If not, it gets kind of squished. But I did this. Does it look squished? Because I can show the time frames when I'm at. I just wasn't paying attention to it. Like I said, it's really hard to show my executions on two platforms at the same time. But I mean, like, I do. Okay, I do answer questions. Like, I don't follow the 2026. I think I stopped watching ICT back in, like, what is it called? 2023, 2024? I don't even know. Yeah, I stopped watching ICT like a long time ago. Like, there's no need for it. I generally think we're going to continue to go up from here to previous weekly high. Like, this held very nicely. What is that? 30 what? 30.075. Okay, I'm done kind of looking. Sorry, I got distracted for a second because I was really like, okay, is this going to continue to go up? Do I want to retry an entry? So my strategy started with the 2022 model, and I kind of went back and forth. I started with the 2016 mentorship, and then I did 2022, and then I did 2017, and then I did a little bit of the 2023, and then I stopped. I was just like, it's kind of pointless, to keep on doing this. Like, I had all the information that I needed, and then I made my strategy based on what I learned from those mentorships, and now I have my own. So I don't feel like I have the need anymore to have to search for what is it called? New strategies, new things. So it's kind of funny because a lot of my students do trade inversion fair value gaps, because I think that was 2024 mentorship. And because I stopped watching ICT and implementing things back in 2023, or I didn't even think I implemented things from the 2023 mentorship. I don't trade inversions. I understand them. I understand the logic. Because if you, and one good thing about understanding inversions is if you understand the market maker buy model and sell model, because there's not only inversions, there's inversions of order blocks, there's inversions of propulsion blocks, and that is what he actually talks about on the 2017. So he does give somewhat of a mention of inversion fair value gaps, because depending on which side of the curve you are, if it's on the buy side or the sell side, things can invert, which is really interesting to understand the logic behind it. But yeah, I don't trade inversions because I learned with fair value gaps, and then I added breakers. So nowadays I'm a breaker / fair value gap entry type of person. Yeah, because what I marked over here was the breaker and the fair value gap. That's why I got the entry that I did. There was nothing to do with inversions or anything like that. Same thing over here, the breaker and the push up. I just don't really like continuations, but this seems like a solid continuation trade all the way to previous weekly high. But you see that is held by a fair value gap. I don't look for inversions. Then I look for swing point formations. Well, we have a shit ton of time today. It's 9:45. I'm done. These are the days that I fucking strive for. Yeah, but he did teach quadrants before too. I've explored with quadrants. I've done the most complicated out of the fucking world shit. I've explored quadrants. I've explored projections. I've explored protractions with fibs. I was just like, no, I'm kind of through with it. And then I realized that I had to start, I don't want to say dumbing things down, but I was like, everything comes down to what is your level of comfortability with with confirmations, right? It's you can get complicated and I can be over here, right? Because I talk the advanced breaker block theory, because that is one of my favorite videos. And I can go over here with the fib. I don't even remember how to fucking use the fib anymore. Do I have the breaker block? Breaker deviation, yeah. And then I can go on the breaker deviation and talk about, okay, we're going to target the -2, but why? But you see how we went straight to the -2 without me having to tell you, we're going to go to the -2. There is no fucking need for me to pull my fib and do that. That is just one extra step that I think is like useless. It's like it's an unnecessary step, in my opinion. But do I know how to do it? I do. Right? It's just, I don't think it's needed. So there's a lot of things that I just removed from my trading. I was like, yeah, we can sit here and talk about, like I was saying, like all the quadrants and all the deviations, to start from the daily, marking things, dividing by 4. I'm like, nah, we're not doing all that. What is YM doing? Some fuck shit. It actually went down too, son of a bitch. But didn't even go down that much. Yeah, and that is another reason why I say, like, sometimes you do have to have 2 pairs, because I thinking too, we get out of this accumulation right here. I'm not going to mess with YM anymore. I mean, it is Thursday. So hopefully by next week, we can make a decision if we're going to take the high or this low. And then I'll trade YM again, because like this was a mess. I took those unnecessary as losses. Like NQ was way cleaner. I don't know, guys. I'm kind of bored right now. I'm not gonna lie. I low-key miss doing TAs. I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, being on stage alone is really fucking boring. I mean, I need the concentration to trade, but like, I was thinking about it. Do you guys miss TA too? Who wants to do TA? Let's do TA. We can call it something else. Let's call it something a little bit more fun, though. It's okay. Like, we need a new name, but it's essentially something that I used to do when I was at MOT. That we talk about your psychology problem. So you just come up and we talk about it. So like, what are you struggling with? How can I help you? Like, we just kind of talk it through. But it's just psychology issues. And Amy, you can start the giveaway whenever you feel like it. So TA is a lot less about me than about and more about you guys. Like, does somebody wants to come up on stage and actually talk to me about what they're going through, like psychology wise? Lock yourself out. I mean, to be fair, I did want to get in on the retracement. I kind of held on that. When I marked this fair value gap here, I almost got in. I really did. But that was like, am I going to be over trading? I mean, I did have a point. It's not like I was going in blindly, but I was like, ugh. I feel like we could have retraced a little bit further down, though. Yeah, because previous weekly high was right here, and I was just like, are we really going to fail to break that? Yeah, no, this was perfect. I know. I'm so glad that we moved away from it. YM is still like in the fucking range. Look at this. And it's going down. I was right. See, this is why it's kind of hard to have two pairs, but it's like dead ass. I was selling a pair that I thought it was going to go down, and it did. And then the other one, I was like, yeah, the other one's buying up. But it's like, but this is like so not clean. I'm 100%. I had no business fucking touching YM today. Like, this was bad. The 15 minutes look fine. I've been like really liking the 15 minutes lately. I still do think it's gonna go down. Like, it's about to be 950, so like this actually looks very decent. In NQ, it is showing signs of weaknesses too, so I feel like we're about to turn around on NQ2, and they're finally correlating again, possibly. But talk to me. What are you guys struggling with psychologically? Who actually wants to come on stage and talk to me? Like, I'm going to give you like 5 seconds to figure this out.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
Good.
What's your name?
Scott. We talked randomly from time to time, but I wanted to get the ball rolling for everybody else, just to see if anybody else is going to be
shy about it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I don't mind talking about it, because it doesn't matter how many payouts you've had, it doesn't matter how many evals you've passed. Ultimately, I struggle with this daily. I have a long set of rules that I have to abide by, because psychologically, I am one of those weak males. I am. It is what it is. So, but the thing is, I have rules set in place every single day that once my ego needs to be checked, I lock completely out. So after that last trade, I completely locked out of everything, because that was an egotistical, bullshit move. Even though it was confirmed, the retrace was there, I had no reason to go back into it.
To be quite honest, I almost pressed it too. I was like this close. I was like, and when I say I was like this close of pressing it, because I do think that there's like two distinctions to it though. One of them is like, you can try to find your edge, and whenever you do find your edge, you do need to push. There are some days that I do push my edge, right? Instead of just one trade, I push it further if I have a good read of the market. And I think our brains capture the patterns before we do, right? That's how we become so good at price action. The more you study price action, the longer you are on the charts. And I do think that you do need to reframe that. I don't think there's such a thing as like, oh, I'm weak mentally, because I think what there is like people not showing the full spectrum, what actually happens behind doors, and they don't talk about it. I've had friends that have made millions of dollars trading and that quit trading because they couldn't handle the mental pressure. Right? So everything from the outside looking in was like, oh my God, they are a 7-figure trader. And then next thing you know, they are having panic attacks in the hospital every week. Right? So I think how much you make does not necessarily make you a good or a bad trader. And we need to reframe to a certain point of like understanding there is a lot more to trading than what people actually tell us. You know, I like I said, me, because I'm friends with these type of guys, right? I know what they struggle with. I know what I struggle with. And we always struggle with the exact same thing. The only thing that some people are better than others, and this come with time, is accepting the losses and having this pattern recognition of like what triggers you and acting on it before it gets to the point of tilt. That like everybody still tilts, everybody still have emotions, but like the things that you don't see behind closed doors, why some people have maybe a high risk tolerance. Well, maybe it's because, you know, they started making money other ways and now they have an influx of extra cash, right? Like, I know some traders that have closed some deals that, like, you know, you go to see them risking $500 here, $1,000 there, to all out of nowhere, they're risking $50,000 a trade. And that money doesn't come from trading per se, right? It comes from other deals that now they're funding their trading. And now, even though they were risking $1,000, now they can risk 50,000 comfortably, and they don't have those struggles mentally anymore. Right? I think it does get to a certain point that, like, when you, the more money you make, the more you realize that you don't struggle with certain things anymore because you don't give a fuck, right? Trading from a place of like needing money, even if it's like something like very minor, and trading from a place that like you can comfortably blow an entire live account is very different, you know? So I think that's why trying to compare yourself with people is always the killer of joy, right? But you don't know what they're going through behind the doors, behind closed doors, I should say.
And to piggyback on all of those points, just a really quick background as far as last year, I was options. I just moved to futures this year in March, but did options and made a little over 300K last year.
Nice.
And tilted on, well, after I paid my 100 grand tax bill, I tilted, and that's where I was very humbled very quickly.
Right.
Kind of to what you were talking about earlier, is I didn't give an F as far as, 20, 30, 40K, trades, things like that.
Yeah.
And I lost the respect as far as for the money itself, of where it came from, how I was able to get to that point. So it's very humbling as far as it is very humbling. And to get there, but I needed it. I honestly needed it. I needed an ego check. It doesn't matter what your win rate is. It matters what your risk management is, all day, every day.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter how much you make, how much you don't make. You just have to stick to it every day. And if you can't, then one of my rules is lock out.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Yeah. Long story short.
Yeah, no, and I think that's great. I made money really quick trading. I want to say fairly fast, because I started becoming profitable within a year and 3 months to a year, 6 months. So like not even 2 years yet, I had over 6 figures in payouts. Like my first payout was 6 figures, which I think it ruined me, because then I kept chasing that. So like every other payout didn't feel like enough. So I was just kind of like chasing that same like feeling, like, okay, I had $100,000 payout. Now every single payout needs to be $100,000 or it's not enough. Right? Because you keep on trying to always better. I'm sorry?
What changed as far as, out of curiosity, what changed for you mentally as far as to get out of that cycle?
It was really hard. I think that was the hardest cycle mentally that I've been through. I think it was to realize that a lot of books, I want to say, because they talk about like how in a year you're going to have really good months and really bad and average months. But most of the year you're going to have more average months than really good months, and the good months you have to be able to go harder on them, which we call like our flow zone, right? So flow state, sorry. So realizing that not every month is going to be a big month, and those are outliers, was really big for me. So it's kind of like I don't have to be better every month. I just need to follow my process and realize that those months are going to come. Like for instance, we all know that usually December and around summertime price action is shit, right? So we kind of expect like not to have your biggest month between December, January, and the middle of the summer, like right now, like June and July and August, right? So it's kind of unrealistic to think that every single month, one is going to be a green month, and that two is going to outperform the month before. So I think I started looking at it in terms of yearly. And that's why I don't like to talk to people when they ask me like, oh, what do you average monthly? I was like, it's impossible for you to look at yourself monthly and think that you are like collecting data from those months and think that you're going to be like happy with it, right? Otherwise you're going to suffer and you're going to tilt if you have a negative month. You need to start looking at it as a yearly base and realize that maybe 3 months out of the whole year you're going to have really good months, and then your only job from that point on is not to lose that money. When somebody told me that, I realized, I was like, damn, that is so true. You probably make majority of your money in 3 months out of the year, and the rest of the year you're just trying not to lose that.
I love that. That's fantastic. That's awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, I hope that helps, like the reframing. I'm sorry?
No, I was saying I was done hogging it though, as far as if anybody else wants to speak.
Yeah. No, it was great. Thank you for coming up. So yeah, this is what TA is, guys. Essentially we just talk about issues that you're having with mentally, and I just help you kind of like reframe them and just really just engage, with people. Oops, I accepted 2 people. I'm gonna move you to the audience real quick. I'll call you after. Hi, how are you?
Hey, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's your name?
Jovan.
Hi, Javan. How are you?
Very good. I'm in your academy, learning a lot. Still going through all the information that you have laid out. For me, one of my biggest things is overtrading.
Okay.
I've blown so many accounts. I think I realize that my issue isn't so much the amount of money that I'm losing. It's more of that desire to want to make more. So obviously it's a greed issue, I guess. There's fear and greed involved in this. And what I'm trying to figure out for me is at what point, like I know that you can scale accounts, but do you feel like at this stage should I just focus on one account and from there decide to scale up higher? Or
I kind of want to start with the fear and greed, because you started talking about those, and I'm going to tell you something that I've learned. And if you guys didn't know, I still to this day do coaching with Jared Tendler. So a lot of my essentially information that I give it to you guys comes from him directly, because I have my own struggles, and I do believe in having coaches, especially when dealing with the type of work that we do. And one of the very interesting things that he mentioned, because I was actually stuck on this type of cycle for quite some time, was that he told me that greed is actually fear of not trusting yourself or your strategy, because you think you have to take all that money in one day, otherwise you're not going to be able to make money on the other days.
Wow.
Right? That is kind of like a big reality check. So it means that you do not trust yourself and the strategy, because if you feel like you have to make money that day and no amount of money will ever satisfy you, that is because you have fear and that your strategy is not going to work for, let's just say the remainder of the week or the remainder of the month, and so forth, and you're not profitable overall, so you try to take everything that you can on the green days. So whenever we do reframe that specific part, and that is something that you have to work on, right? So it's like, what is causing me to be fearful, right, that I'm not going to be profitable long term? Is it because I don't have enough back testing? Is it because I don't trust this strategy? Or is it because I don't trust myself to not tilt, right? So everything in trading comes from being self-critical and trying to find the root of the cause, because everybody here can be greedy for different reasons and having different fears come into play. Some may be from childhood trauma, right? That is like, okay, you grew up not having anything, and then you grow up and then you start trading, and as an adult you feel like you have to take everything because you still have this scarcity mindset that stems from childhood trauma. So that is what you have to work on, right? Is making sure that you feel safe, that you heal that trauma. And some other people might be different things, right? It might just be, I don't have enough data that supports the fact that I'm feeling greedy because I am fearful that I'm not able to execute properly. So that is when sometimes technicals can just help, and then enough back testing will give you the confidence, right? I don't think confidence is built overnight. It's built with whenever you trust yourself enough to do the same thing every single day and know that you're not going to fuck up. So two people can have the same issue. They stems from different things and needs to do different types of work of healing those things, right? As far as scaling goes, I always say make sure you get to your payout with one account first, and then utilize that money to reinvest on more accounts, because to me it can ruin you. You don't, like, we talk about like how wonderful trading can be, but we don't talk about how dangerous trading can be, right? Because whenever you start putting like so much money that you don't even realize, is like, okay, it's 5 accounts a month, but it's like, that is $500, right? Then now it becomes a bill. Instead of paying a bill, you're paying a bill with the money, right? So we need to try to minimize that as much as we can. So like, yes, start with one account, and it's okay to blow 5 accounts within a month. Don't get me wrong, we should not be attached to those accounts. However, why blow 5 accounts in a month instead of like, blowing all the accounts at once and then having to buy that 5 times? Like, then now you're upwards, my math is terrible, like 5, 10, 15, 20. Now you're buying 20 accounts a month, and really quickly becomes $2,000. Now you're paying $2,000 to play every month.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. And just going back to the fear and greed, what you mentioned, what brought to life for me was moving my stop, because I'm trying to catch that win. So I moved my stop further. And it causes me to get out of the trade earlier when there's actually more fruit that I could have gotten if I would have just left my stop alone.
Yeah, and I think there's two parts to it. Like I've traded very differently, and I've explored. When I was first started trading, I want to say like I was profitable, but I'm talking about like year 2. I think up to year 3 or 4, I would live and die by my stop loss and take profit. I did not even put trades at break even. And I would be like, I don't give a fuck. Is it going to hit or is it not going to hit? And I'm not touching it. Right. And then I would go do anything else but touch my stop loss. And I think that also builds confidence,
Yeah.
and true acceptance of like, I'm paying $200 to be part of this move. My target is this high over here that is $1,000. And that is what I'm paying for. I'm not interested in the $400, $500, $600, $800. That is my target, right? And the more I saw that happen and that hit, and everybody would be like, how you're still holding? And I'm like, because that is my target. All right. But then it kind of like, then I started building the fact that I'm like, okay, some days you wouldn't hit the target. And I was like, okay, maybe I'm being a little bit too greedy, right? That I'm like, too perfectionist, I would say, that it has to hit that target every day. And the reality is, because we're working with things that are probability, nothing happens 100% of the time, right? So what you can start doing, instead of like even trailing, I actually don't really love trailing. I started doing as a bad habit because of Apex, because I was doing trailing accounts. But it is to take partials. I think taking partials at 2R, 4R, 6R. So like you make like a rule for when you have to take partials, and then you work on holding on the trade longer at break even. I think that is a great trade management. I think sometimes we can mess with our trades, and whenever we mess with the stop loss, like it took me years to like be able to move my stops and know exactly where price is going to retrace. And I think it's a lot less mentally taxing by taking partials.
Yeah, because I feel like taking partials, there's a lot happening, so then you're trying to figure out like, okay, like how much should I take? Where should I put that?
Well, but you make it into a rule, right? So I think you leave your stop loss alone for up into 2R kind of thing,
okay.
Or 2 bricks of structure, one of the 2 rules. So you make a rule, 2R, 2 bricks of structure, whatever it may be. So that is your base rule for when you should move your stop to break even. And then you make secondary rules for trade management, right? So your trade management rules is, I'll take 50% off at 2R, and let's just say 1 micro contract out every 25 points after that on NQ. So like you got to make rules.
Would this be on micros or would this be on minis?
Micros. You have, for you to have those type of like really specific management rules, it has to be on micros.
For sure.
Yeah. But I think it's easier to manage, like you have 20 micros, let's just say, you have 20 chances of removing and adding position. So you can scale in and scale out very easily. Right.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And I think that like I said, I'm a big advocate for like actually taking partials rather than trailing with the stop, because it's very hard to predict if we're going to be on a day like today that is like it's one-sided up and we are continuing the move from premium and we're not coming back into discount. You don't know if that's going to happen, right? So moving your stop to, let's just say 2R or whatever, you're going to get stopped out. And sometimes, like I said, I still do that personally, because mentally for me, I'm just kind of like, whatever. Like, this is my withhold. Like, okay, $2,000. I don't want to lose over $2,000. Otherwise, I'm going to crash out, right? But you got to see what works for you. and really try to like, it's really hard, but you do need to detach from the money. So like when starting out, it's really about the strategy, getting the strategy right, getting the risk management right, and having rules for everything that you do. And then eventually those things become kind of like second nature. But at first they feel very mechanical.
Yeah, that's the point that I want to get to, is making everything mechanical. It's just a habit in my mind.
Yeah, and I literally have my book over here. Like I write everything down because like things, sometimes you just need to write things down physically to get it out of your mind and make it into something let's just say real.
Yeah.
So even if it's writing down like your thoughts throughout the trade, the feelings that you're having prior to the trade, or the feelings that you want to act on, right? So whenever you have a feeling that you want to act on, write it on paper, do not act on it, and then insert a logic. That is how you reframe your mindset. Is like, you, let's just say, are saying, I want to close out my position, and then you write on your journal like, I want to close out my position, but you don't close it, and then you insert logic, and then the logic that you write down is like, my rule is to remove 50% of the position at 2R. I will close 50% now. So like every time that you have kind of like an impulse, you write it down, and then you think about it, and then you write what you should do, and then you do it. So it's kind of like, it's very mechanical that way, because that way you are like inserting rules within the thoughts that you have. Instead of acting on the thoughts, you're writing it out. So every time that you write something out, you are essentially putting the action that you want to do into something solid, but not actually acting on it. And it takes off the urge of actually doing it. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you, Izzy.
You're welcome. All right, guys. I'm going to have to end because it's about to be, it is 10:20 right now. Actually, I love this dynamic. I think I want to do this more on the calls. And honestly, I really have to pee. Congratulations for all the winners. And I'll talk to you guys on, what is today? Well, bootcamp members, I'll talk to you guys on Saturday. Everybody else, I'll see you on Tuesday. Have a great weekend.